Hello everyone! This video is part of a series where we are developing a microservices-based social media application. We are using React for our front end and Node.js for our backend services. And in today's video, we are going to integrate the testing environment to our web application. In the first part of this video, we are going to integrate Jest and reac-testing-library, and we'll also make sure that they're working correctly in our environment. And in the second part, we are going to integrate Cypress and also make sure that everything is running smoothly. Here is a more detailed overview of what we will do in this video. We will start by merging the dependency updates branch into master. Remember, in the previous video, we have implemented renovate in our repository so that the packages or the dependencies of our project, they are automatically updated behind the scenes. However, the updates come to the dependency updates branch, so we need to merge it into master from time to time. We will then move to adding Jest and ts-jest to our project. So here are a couple of commands that we will execute. And then we will move to adding reac-testing-library to our project. We will also write our first test. It's going to be very simple, but at least it will be there and we will be able to use it in our script so we can run tests from the command line and also from the CI environment. We will then move to adding Cypress to our project. We will isolate Cypress and Jest because of some conflicting dependencies. We'll also adjust Cypress configuration and we will do some cleanup on the default files that are delivered with Cypress. Finally, we will add the test scripts to the package.json file. So these are the scripts that we are going to add, these four here, and we will also add them to the CI environment. Let's move to the terminal and let's merge the dependency updates branch into master. I'm back at my terminal and I'm in master, so let me pull the repository. Already up to date, and I will check out dependency updates, exactly. I will pull the changes from the dependency update branch, and as you can see, we have some changes in the auth and in the web client folders. Just so that we can see the changes more clearly, I'm here in GitHub comparing the branch dependency updates with master, and let's see what changed. As you can see, some of the dependencies in the auth package were updated to later versions. So for example, this is a patch update, this is a minor update, and also some updates in the dev dependencies. And this is also the case for the web client. So the dependencies were pinned. We have removed this caret here, and some of the changes or some of the dependencies were already updated, either patch updates or minor updates. Now that we have a better overview of the changes in the dependency updates branch, let's create a new branch and then we create a pull request from this new branch to master. Here I will check out a new branch and I'm going to say merge dependencies, like so. I can then simply push this to the repository. And back at my GitHub page, I can come back to the code here and we will see that the suggestion for comparing and creating a pull request is already here. So I'll just create the pull request. This I will call merge dependencies, small typo, and I'll create the pull request. Let's give it a couple of seconds so that the CI tests run, and we'll then merge this branch into master if everything passes. All the CI tests have passed, so we can safely say we can merge this branch into master. And perhaps now it's clearer why we have created a new branch from the dependency updates branch so that we can merge it into master. As it happens, I have configured the repository to automatically delete the branch where the pull request is coming from. And since renovate merges into the dependency updates branch, it would be bad if we deleted that branch right after merge, right? So we simply create a new temporary branch, we merge that branch into master, and the dependency updates branch is preserved. Back at my terminal, let's pull the latest changes from master. Remember, we just merged the branch, so we can pull the changes and now we can merge them back into our dependency updates. Git merge master. There will probably be conflicts. Let's see. No, there are no conflicts. So now we have merged the latest version of master into the dependency updates branch. So we will simply push this to the remote repository so that Renovate can work with the latest version of our code. Now, because we just merged the dependency updates into master and then merged master back, there will be no changes virtually. However, it's always a good practice to update this branch back. At least I find it's small effort, and at some very, very edge cases, it can prevent conflicts from happening in the future. Back at my IDE, as you can see, there are quite a few packages that are not installed. And this happens because, of course, Renovate updated the version here, so the version number changed, and the package that is installed within Node modules is an older version. So we need to go back to the terminal and run npm install within the auth and the web client directories. I'll clear my console. Let's check out master again, because we will work with master here, at least to install the dependencies. We will switch to our auth directory and run npm ci. npm ci is a command that is going to install dependencies based on the package-lock file. It's not going to look only at the package.json file, but it will look at the dependencies as specified in the package-lock file. And this makes sure that we are installing the exact same versions of our packages. We will do the same for our web client. And with all our dependencies now installed, we can start moving on with the tasks of this video. Let's create a new branch here. I will say git checkout branch, lm add jest Cypress. So now we are in a new branch and we can continue with our development. To add Jest to our project, we just need to install 3 development dependencies and then run a small command to initialize the Jest configuration file. I'll copy this command, it's also in the description of the video, and I'll paste this in my terminal. I'll clear the console and make sure that you are inside the web client directory. We can now paste the command. Oops. Let me copy this again and paste it here. Exactly. Now let it run. It should be relatively quick, so it will install the dependencies for Jest, tsjest, and add types /jest. And I'll already copy this command here for us to run as the next command. Perfect. I'll simply paste it here and run again. And as you can see, there is a simple output that says, okay, it has created this jest.config.js file. Let's go back to the IDE, and here in the IDE, inside of the web client directory, we should be able to see our jest.config.json. There it is, and the only thing we need to do here is to change the test environment to JS DOM. Okay, because we are not really running in Node here, we are running, or we want to simulate a browser, so we want to have access to DOM methods, right? So the Jest tests should run in the JS DOM test environment. We can now install the testing library /react package. I'll just copy this and paste again in the terminal so that we can install it directly and we can move on to adding our first test. No big surprises here, so let's go back to the IDE. Let's, within the source folder, create a new file called app.test.tsx. And we will write a simple, very simple, straightforward test here. We will import React from React. We will also import render from React, so from the testing library package. And we will import our app from ./app. Here we also need to import the screen. And this is because we want to run a generic get-by-text query. So let's define our test. It should find the corresponding component. And then here, all we want to do is simply say, let's render our application. And then let's expect screen.getByText. Here, let's pass a regular expression, which is going to ignore the case, and we will look for the text unsocial. Now remember, in our app.tsx, we have unsocial here, so we should be able to find unsocial within our text, within our tests. So here we will expect this to be defined. Okay, like so. Maybe we will also change this to be defined afterwards, or let's say .not to throw, something like this. So we would expect this get by text not to throw anything, but here I will say to be defined. If I save this and go back to the terminal, now I cannot really run this except if I do a node modules like this .bin, and then I have my jest here, and if I run it like so, then it should be possible to run or to find the test app.test.tsx. Now, of course, we don't want to do that all the time, so we will soon add the test script to our package.json file. But back at the IDE, let's try to make this fail. So remember, the app.tsx does not have my name on it. So if I change the text to Lauro and save this, run again, jest, this should fail. Exactly. So as you can see, now we have really a unable to find element with the text. So, well, that's good. Means that the tests are finding the element and they are failing in case the element is not present. So I'll write it like this. So show, ignoring the case here, this I in the end means, okay, find it both with capital or lower, so lowercase or uppercase letters. And now let's go back to the package.json file and let's add our test command. So the test command here is jest, and we also have a test watch command. So I will just copy this and paste it back in the package.json file. It's exactly the same as the one that we are running in the auth package. So if I open the package.json here, you will see the command is the same. Now we can also try to run this command from our terminal. I'll clear the console and let's say run test watch. Oops, I think I didn't save the file. Exactly. Let's try again. Great. I can quit watch mode and we have added our support for jest and for the testing library package. Now let's move on to adding Cypress. And as you can see here in the file here, it's as simple as installing Cypress and saving as a dev dependency. So let's jump to the terminal and just paste this command. This is gonna take a while, so it takes a little bit of time to maybe not to install Cypress, but also to open it for the first time. So I think it also has to download a few things. No, not really. So it's the install package or the install command is quite quick. However, if we run or when we run Cypress for the first time, so we need to create this or to run this command .node modules.bin Cypress open. This is going to run Cypress for the first time, and it will then take a little bit of time because it needs to download the tool, but we will come back once this is over. Here it didn't really have to download Cypress again. It's probably because I tried it in the past already and I have some cached version of Cypress that was then recognized by the system. In your case, it may be that the system needs a couple of minutes to download and initialize Cypress. That's no problem. So this is what we're going to see once we open Cypress for the first time. I'll say just okay, got it, and I can run, let's say, the network requests. Once I click on the network requests, this is going to run automatically. It's going to run a series of commands, and as you can see, it runs inside Chrome, and the commands are just executed one after the other. This is all Cypress configuration or Cypress, let's say this is how Cypress works. We will get a lot more into the details of how Cypress works and how we can write our own end-to-end tests later on in this series. But for now, it's just nice to play around with it. I think it would also be interesting for you. If you want to click here, it shows exactly which tests are being executed, and we can navigate. You can navigate through the output. It's quite interesting. It's quite interactive tool. I encourage you to go ahead and play a little bit around with it. For now, let's continue with the setup, and I want to isolate the Cypress test runner from the Jest test runner. In order to do so, within the jest.config.js file, we need to add a certain key, or we need to add a certain option that is going to tell Jest where to look for tests within our project. If we leave it as it is for the moment, it's going to look for tests everywhere. However, we don't really want Jest running Cypress tests because Cypress tests, again, are based on Mocha. That means that there will be conflicts, and of course Jest will not be able to run the tests from Mocha, so that everything will blow up and we will basically have no idea why. Well, So the reason why is really because these are two different test runners. So here I will add a key which is called roots, and roots allows me to, so it's an array, right? And this array allows me to define which folders Jest should look into when looking for tests. We will define one folder, which is the source folder. And here we are going to use a special syntax from Jest, which is called root dir, or dir, like so, /source. And this means, okay, take the root directory of this jest.config.js file and look for the source folder or the source directory under this root directory. That's it for our jest.config.js. Now if I come back to the terminal here and I run jest again, I will end this because this was the Cypress, clear the console and then run test. Everything should still be working. Great. Now for the sake of just curiosity, let's come back here to our jest config file. We'll remove the roots and then we'll run again the test command. Let's see what happens. And as you can see, Jest really found all the tests that were referenced inside of our Cypress folder, right? So it's trying to run the tests which are not made for Jest, and of course we get some weird errors like context is not defined because, well, it's trying to find the context function within the Jest namespace, but this is a Mocha namespace, so simply not gonna work, right? So we need to come back here and add the roots array to our configuration file, and now everything should remain working. Additionally, because we want to run Cypress with TypeScript, we also need to add a tsconfig file within the Cypress directory, because remember, again, the namespaces for tests are different here. And if there are global variables, the TypeScript compiler is going to get confused. So here we need to really isolate the Cypress environment so that the TypeScript configuration knows where to look for the types for the Cypress files. To begin with, I will extend the root tsconfig file, so the tsconfig file from the parent directory, but I will override a couple of compiler options. And for the types here, I will say Cypress, okay? And here I need to make sure that I include a couple of directories so that it works correctly. The first directory I want to include is the node modules directory for Cypress. So this is going to be /node modules/Cypress. And I also want to include all the TS files within my project. So here I can simply say, I think ****star.ts. If you want to be fully correct about this, you can say */*star.ts. This means include all the files that end with a TS extension. Before we proceed, so that we can test these TypeScript files, let's do a little bit of cleanup. Here, as you can see, we have a lot of examples. All these examples were in that initial Cypress screen. I'm going to delete all of them. I really have no preference here. I'm just leaving the network requests example because it's maybe adds some value in the future for us. I'll open this file and I will just rename this. So I'll refactor from .js to .ts. And I'll simply click refactor. This should be enough for the file to be a TypeScript file and to be recognized by the IDE and by TypeScript for type checking. Let's then move to the configuration of Cypress. We have a new file here that was created by Cypress once we opened it for the first time, the cypress.json file. If I open, this is an empty object, and let me just close this update dependencies here. So this empty object receives a couple of configurations. If I run Cypress from the command line, and perhaps I should do it now. Actually, let's do it now. So within my terminal here, I'll clear the console and I will say /node modules bin Cypress run, like so. This is going to run the tests from the command line. It's not going to open the browser and the browser UI. It's going to run everything from the command line. All the tests passed, but look here, quite interesting, there is a video, right? And this video here is really a video of Cypress automatically running all the stages of this network request file. So if so if you want to keep this video, it's fine, but in our case, I just don't think it makes sense for us to save this MP4 video in the repository. So I would like to turn this option off. So back at my configuration file, I will say video off, false, not off, but false. And also screenshot on run failure, I also mark this to false. Otherwise it will start creating screenshots, or maybe this would be interesting. Let's keep this on. We'll just turn the video option to false. I will save this, and as you can see, it's here, right? So video examples, and then this is the video that was created. I'll just delete this because I'm not interested in the videos, and that should be it for the configuration. So for now, really, I'm trying to keep things simple, relatively short. It is very likely the case that we will come back to the configuration in the future and we will adjust a few things, but for now I just want to have a working setup. One more thing I want to do is within the git ignore folder, I want to add the videos folder just to make sure that I don't really copy or I don't really commit any videos in case they are created or in case they were already there. Or if you want to leave the video option on but not commit the video, we can simply ignore the folder here. I'll just say Cypress video directory, and this I can use something like Cypress/videos. Okay, this is going to prevent that any folder called videos under Cypress folder is committed to the repository. As a final step in our Cypress setup, let's add the scripts to our package.json file. So back here, let me find the package.json file. It's here. Let's add a couple of tests or a couple of scripts. I will say test Cypress, and this is going to be simply Cypress run. And we can also add the TypeScript checks. So I'll say tsc check. This is going to be tsc -no emit. And we can pass the project option here. And the project option is going to be tsconfig.json. The next TypeScript check is tsc:cypress. And this is going to be very similar. We will have a tsc -no emit -project cypress /tsconfig.json. I'll save this and let's try this in the terminal. So we can say npm run test :cypress. Give it a couple of seconds. It always takes some time to start up, but it should run all the tests just as before. Great. We can also try tsc check. This should be a relatively quick command because we have just a few files in our project. And oops, there is an error: to be defined does not exist on type assertion. And of course, this is due to a small mistake from my side. I just forgot to finish the configuration of the base tsconfig.json file. Back here at the tsconfig.json file, let's activate the types option and we'll say jest, like so. And here at the bottom, we will also include only the source directory. So the source and all its subdirectories and folders. Once I save the changes now to my base or to my root tsconfig.json file, and I run again the tsc:check command, everything is working as expected. Now let's also run the Cypress command, and this should also work. Perfect. Last but not least, let's add these checks to our CI checks. So back at my IDE, I will go to ci.yaml file and I will copy the off job, paste it under here. I'll call this web client, and it's going to be the web client service. And here, just to be consistent with my system, let's use Node 14. Maybe you are not using Node 15 yet. There are some breaking changes and maybe you don't want to install it. I think 14 is more widespread. Let's just use it. It's not going to change anything for us, but just for the sake of compatibility, that you are also using, or you are more likely to use the same system that we are using here. So down here, let's change a few things. Web client service, Ubuntu latest will be the same. Checkout, setting up nodes is going to be the same. The difference here is the working directory is not going to be auth anymore. It's going to be web-client. And here, again, also web-client. The prettier check we still don't have. The linting check we still don't have. We will add these two checks in the next video. But for the moment, let's simply run npm run tsc:check tsc:cypress test and test:cypress. Let me close again these small annoying pop-ups. I will save this. I will commit the changes. Let's add everything. So back to the root directory, I will add everything. Let's see the changes that we're going to commit. See if there is anything that should not be committed here. But no, everything seems to be working fine. So commit feature add Jest testing library and Cypress. And here we can say the scope. The scope is going to be the web client. This maybe later on we will add a more strict configuration about semantic versioning and how we can use conventional commits to deploy versions following the semantic versioning pattern. But for now, it's really no big problem. I'm just following the standards here, or I'm just following the conventions, but it's up to you if you want to have a less strict commit message. Everything went smoothly here. I will push this to the remote repository, lm/add Jest Cypress. Once I'm done pushing the code, I can go back to the GitHub repository. Within the code tab, I can create a new pull request from lm/add Jest Cypress, and this is going to run the new checks that we have added. So simple title will keep the same. I'll create the pull request. I'm more interested in the CI checks that are going to run now. Let's come to the details of the web client service check and wait to see the output of the checks. It's gonna take a while. As you can see here, it is downloading Cypress. So this is what I meant when I said that your system may have to download Cypress. May take a little bit of time. In the CI environment, this is always necessary because we are running it in a completely or in an entirely new machine, right? So we have no cache from previous runs here. The Jest file or the Jest checks are passing as they should, and we are waiting for the output from Cypress. Here it looks a little bit ugly because of the zooming of the page, but in your computer maybe it's gonna look nicer. So everything is passing as expected. The check passes, and if we come back to the conversation here, we have a green sign for us to go ahead and merge this branch into master. Great, we now have a test setup inside of the web client. Let's come back to the terminal. Last thing for now, we will pull the latest version of master and merge it back into the dependency updates branch. Git merge master, no big changes, push it back, and everything should be up to date now. That's it for today, and now we are fully equipped to write tests also for our web client and maintain our test-driven development mindset. If you want to be informed about new videos every time they are available, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I try to post multiple times a week, so you will receive a small reminder every time a new video is online. And finally, as you know, sharing knowledge is the main motivation behind this channel. So if you know someone who could benefit from these videos or from other videos in the channel, feel free to go ahead and share them with your friends. That's it for today. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.